On the Senate floor today, Minnesota Democrat Paul Wellstone spoke out against a resolution authorizing military action against Iraq. Wellstone, meantime, is fighting his own difficult battle for re-election. Jonathan Karl sat down with Wellstone to talk about war and politics.
Senator, you've come out and you've said that you will vote against this resolution authorizing the president to use force in Iraq. How difficult a decision was that, and are you going to pay a political price back in Minnesota?
Well, a difficult decision because, it's a question of life and death. Minnesota sons and daughters and could be at harm's way. What will be the impact of the world we live in? So, that kind of decision, you talk to a lot of people that you respect, you think deeply about it, and then you make an intellectually honest and personally honest decision. So it was difficult for that reason. And on the consequences you were saying, the political consequences, yeah. I don't really know. I don't know. I don't honestly and truthfully know. I think if I had made the decision, if I had come to the floor of the Senate and had uttered words I didn't believe in, or voted for something that I was really against, I couldn't do that. So I think it's always better to make the decision you honestly believe in, and I'll leave it up to people in Minnesota what they think.
Tell me though, back in '98, when President Clinton asked for for authorization to use force against Iraq, you stood there and you voted to give that Democratic president the authority. What's different?
Well, actually, it was a voice vote. I mean, it was one of those voice votes in the floor of the Senate, and I don't know exactly what had happened, to be honest. Yeah. But it wasn't actually for military force. They did talk about the importance of getting a regime change, but I don't think it was on the military force at all.
But one of the things that your opponent has tried to say about you is that you are weak on defense. You are not a strong supporter of the military in a time when we're fighting a war on terrorism. Right. Doesn't this play right into his argument, one of his central arguments against you?
Well, there's 2 points, actually. I mean, I think, John, that, and I said it on the floor, I actually have great concerns about going at it alone and unilaterally authorizing that, because I think it could undercut the kind of support we need in South Asia and the Near East for the battle against terrorism. For Al-Qaeda, which I take very, very seriously. I give no ground on that issue. As to the rest of it, my opponent, Republican Party attacks and whatnot, which I've heard are going on today, he'll lose the election because of this or whatever they're saying. I don't think people are in Minnesota in the mood to hear it.
I remember being in the Senate chamber as a young reporter when you gave your first speech of your Senate career, and it was against the last call for.
Right.
Is this a similar situation, a similarly difficult situation for you?
You know what? There is a similarity and a dissimilarity. What's similar is that even then I said, I'm not opposed to military action, but I think the military option is the last option. That's always been my framework, and I feel the same way right now. What's changed is I just got here, and then boom, that's the question. This time, because of people in Minnesota, I've had a chance to be United States Senator for almost 12 years. I've had a chance to be at all the Senate Foreign Relations Committee hearings, to have all the intelligence briefings, to call the best people in the country to think more deeply about it. And I've approached it, I think, this time more, I'll say it proudly, with the methodology of being a United States Senator. That's what's really different this time.
As you know, many of your colleagues here in the Senate are certainly on board.
Yeah.
Are they too eager to give the president the authority?
Well, I can't speak. I don't really believe this is a party strategy question. I mean, for me, I never dreamed I'd be a United States Senator from Minnesota. I owe everything to people in the state. And I think you've got to make the best decision you can make. And I very honestly and truthfully believe it would be a mistake to go at it alone. And I think that's what this resolution, the bottom line is, that's what it authorizes. So I think there should be opposition to this, and I think we should go to the international community. Other senators obviously have taken different positions for whatever reasons. I have to only do what my head and heart and soul tell me is the right thing to do. That's all I can do.
The Iraq debate has created some strange political bedfellows. Up next, House Minority Leader Dick Gephardt talks about siding with President Bush over his Democratic colleague, Tom Daschle.